Today on Locked On Red Wings, we recap Detroit's 1-0 43 save shutout victory over the Vancouver Canucks.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. Scotty also hosts over at Locked On Tigers, who are also on YouTube now. So make sure you go over there and give that a subscribe. How you doing over there, Scotty?
Oh, great, man. First episode, well over 100. Second episode, closing in on 200. We're doing fantastic.
You're going to lap us in a quick moment here.
I don't know about that. We got it. We got that it factor, baby.
We got that. We got that chemistry.
Scotty's
got that chemistry with himself, though, over on Locked On Tigers. Asking himself questions, responding to them.
I'm just a nerd. That's all.
Oh, we love that. We love that about
Spring
you.
Spring training starts tomorrow. Today. Spring training starts today, baby.
So
Game 1. It's on Bally, too.
Are they 7 or 9 inning spring training games?
Back to 9. The 7 was just a weird, stupid thing.
Okay.
Spring training is also like super casual. Like if a team's getting blown out or a team runs out of pitchers that they feel like using that day, they can just be like, "Hey, let's call it in the 6th," and they can be like, "All right, cool." Like it's super casual, but yes, practice. It is back to 9. The 7 was just weird. Last couple of years with COVID and everything.
Gotcha. Thanks for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms. Scotty, it's a good day. We finally have a good day. Great day. We are sitting here at 1:09 in the morning, right after the Red Wings post a 1-0 victory on the back of a 43 save shutout by Alex Nedeljkovic, his second as a Detroit Red Wing. Let us lead off with that because we have been so starved with for stellar goaltender performances. We actually got 2 this week because Greiss did have a great performance against the Calgary Flames. And so I do want to give credit to that. And then he followed it up with 3 goals on 6 shots the next night. But Nedeljkovic that was the Nedeljkovic we had seen for the majority of the season up until this last stretch here in February and March, where he is just standing on his head, stealing games for the Detroit Red Wings. And this 43 save shutout brought his save percentage literally back to 900. It's sitting right now at exactly 900. So it was a much needed game for himself, stat-wise, himself, confidence-wise, and the team confidence-wise as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was the Ned game. There's
absolutely
like we'll get into everything, and like the defense played better, and the offense actually looked pretty darn good. And their goalie had a hell of a game too. But this is the Ned game. Ned was him. He is him. Ned was him tonight, man. It was he was phenomenal. I think the biggest thing I noticed was the rebound control this game was out of nutty good. Like better than I'm pretty confident in saying it's the best I've seen out of a Wings goalie all year. It was unreal how the rebound, there either weren't rebounds or the rebounds would go into areas with no skaters. Like the rebound control he had was phenomenal tonight.
Yeah, and that is such an important, not just being able to prevent rebounds from happening, but if it's a shot on you that you can't prevent from a rebound happening, being able to control the direction that rebound goes. And, we just 43 shots on that, man. He was absolutely peppered in this game.
He was on one.
And he was on one. He made, he faced 5 high danger shots against 15 medium danger and 20 low danger shots. Now, I do think there is something to be said about the lack of high danger shots in this game. And we will talk about probably what I would argue the best game this team has played defensively all season long. But it was great to see Nedeljkovic bounce back the way he did, because regardless of where those shots came from, 43 saves is 43 saves. And the Vancouver Canucks are no slouches. We talked about it yesterday. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot, and they have some really young, great upcoming talent like, Elias Pettersson on their team and Podkolzin. These guys these are up and comers. You got JT Miller, who could possibly have 100 points this season. Brock Besser, who's playing fantastic. I mean, God, dude, Garland had 8 shots in this game. I mean, he was getting shots from all over the ice, and Nedeljkovic was on one today. And this is the type of game that we need Nedeljkovic to be able to play. And now, granted, Red Wings out of a playoff spot. Not happening. So there's going to be a segment of the fan base that's going to want the Wings to lose to get a high enough draft pick. I've said time and time again, I'm over the whole tanking thing. At this point, you're building these players that are on this team up. And if you get a good draft pick because the team's just naturally bad, so be it. But at this point, you've played too good of a season to really get a high draft pick regardless. So Nedeljkovic, get a game like this, get the wheels back on that wagon, baby, because we need you to be the goaltender of the future
back on?
of this team. Put the back on the wagon. We're not talking about a horse.
I'm talking about a horse. He was on Friday today, baby. Oh. You best believe he was.
No, he was on another level today, and it was so refreshing to see.
Yeah, no, it really was, and like I said, he did everything so well, and we'll get into kind of how the defense played a role in it as well, but he did everything really well, and again, the biggest thing was just I was dumbfounded by how good his rebound control was and everything. It was just an all around fantastic game, and going forward, I mean, if we're talking about Ned maybe returning to form, obviously we're well out of the playoffs. That's on nobody's mind anymore. But if he can get back on that heater, I think he will. If at the end of the season you look and you say, okay, he had a really good first third of the season, a really good last third of the season, and struggled in the middle third, that would reinstate a lot more faith within the front office and the fan base about his role with the team going forward. You know what I mean? And it's not just going to be, he was hot at the beginning, whatever. I think that would show a lot of maturity, being able to make adjustments mid-season and just being able to get back on after you go on a cold spell is unbelievably impressive. What?
Get back on what?
Get back on the horse, baby. And so, yeah, I just think that if I'm hoping that this is a sign of things to come, because I'm over tanking too. And I also don't think that it's beneficial really for how high we are in the standings for this team to just tank anymore. I don't think that holds any value. We're not going to raise our odds, like 10% in the lottery by losing at this point. We're too high up. So I think that it's mostly beneficial for everybody if Ned can get back on that heater that he was on at the beginning of the year.
Well, and the team is going to play better when the goaltender has confidence as well. I mean, that it really honestly does start back there. If your goaltender is playing with confidence and the team has confidence in the goaltender, it's gonna have a butterfly effect through the rest of the team. I mean, how many times have you heard it? Like if a team doesn't have faith in their quarterback or the team doesn't have faith in their goaltender, like these are pivotal pieces on the team that you can't win championships without. I mean, you can win championships with a hot goaltender, but if you have a lousy goaltender, the chances of you winning a championship are out the window because they're the ones who need to make the saves when the shots end up making it through onto them. And Nedeljkovic tonight played like a Calder finalist goaltender like he was last year with the Carolina Hurricanes. He played like we had seen him play the first, 30-some games of the season or however many he played until this recent cold streak. This is the Nedeljkovic that we were used to, and it's refreshing to see that he can snap out of it, and hopefully this is just a build upon game for him to finish the season strong, and that this stretch the Wings were on, and obviously he didn't make all those starts. Grice had several starts in there as well, that this stretch where they're just getting peppered and letting in goal after goal was just that. It was just a stretch and not the real Red Wings.
Yeah, and well, I mean, like I said, we'll get into it, but the way the defense played tonight certainly was beneficial to Ned, and I think if this is what he can do with the defensive personnel in front of him, if he can have nights like this and stretches in a season like this with this defense, I'm drooling over what he can accomplish with in another offseason or two of adding to this defense.
Yeah, I tend to drool too, but when I drool, it's because I'm about to eat a delicious Built Bar.
That was all-timer. Hey, Hey, no, that was phenomenal. That was all-timer, baby. Big
Thank
up.
you. You set me up perfectly there. It's very natural. This time of year, we've all pretty much given up on those New Year's resolutions, guys. It's halfway through March. New Year's resolutions don't exist at this point, but Built Bars will always exist, and they're always going to make eating right easy for you because they taste so good. You actually enjoy eating them. You got to try the Puffs if you haven't already. They are some of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they are a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. So good. These are going to be your new favorite at built.com. Or all Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, Puffs included, 100% real chocolate. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which normally has 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Scotty, so
Ryan.
Nedeljkovic was the key piece to the reason this team won. But he was actually, for once, helped out by the defense that played in front of him. In the end, yeah, Vancouver had 43 shots, but it was definitely quantity over quality for them in this one today. And watching the game, I noticed it. You know, the Wings defenders without Nick Leddy, mind you, which we'll talk about in the third segment, the implications behind that, him being a healthy scratch in this game. But without Nick Leddy, this defense was still able to actually box out opponents, tie them up in front of the net, and really take away prime scoring chances. And this is the part of the podcast where I bring up the heat map for everyone to see.
A staple.
The staple at this point. And you can see it here, Scotty, where normally when you're playing against the Red Wings defense, the heat map, so to speak, the hottest parts are literally right on top of the goal. Today, it's moved out into the high slot.
There's almost no red in front of the net.
No red in front of the net. Instead, it's a lot of green all over the zone. And that is a statement of how the shots were coming for the Vancouver Canucks. They were taking shots from everywhere, but they weren't concentrated in high danger areas, which speaks to the fact that Nedeljkovic only faced 5 high danger shots throughout the entire game at all strengths. 5 high danger shots. And that is a testament to how well the defense played. If we're going to talk smack and we're going to talk down about when the defense is bad, which it is a lot of the time, we got to give them props for where it's due. And the defensive pairs especially, played solid tonight.
They did, and I mean, you saw it. That heat map is phenomenal. I mean, that's they should hang that in the DIA. That's beautiful. All of the red is from, yeah, like you said, the high slot, and right in front of, like, spot on in front of, net and everything like that. That's beautiful. And then on the Red Wings side, I mean, what a beauty that is.
Yeah,
it's just dark blue, which is would be the Red Wings version of dark red, right in front of the net, right on top of the net, which is a testament to how good of a goalie game they had as well. But I mean, this is ideal. This is how, like, if every game looked like this, that's the goal for every game, for our heat map to look like that, and for the opponents to look like that. That's as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, and this is at 5-on-5 either. If you change it to all, then it gets a little bit hotter. But even then, Scotty, look at how that changed. So the Canucks heat, so to speak, is still located in the high slot. They're a little yellow on top of the net. At all strengths, they still weren't getting high-quality scoring chances right down in front of Alexander Nedeljkovic. The defense was doing a great job. And the offense, on the other end, look at, like you said, all that dark blue. This is just, Scotty, I'm going to say it, this was the most exciting game this team has played in a long time, and it was a 1-0 game. I mean, probably at least as the Philadelphia Flyers game. And I mean, I'm talking about for both teams. Both teams came out to play. It was an absolute showcase of young talent in this game, and it may have ended 1-0, but it wasn't for a lack of shots and lack of chances. This was an exciting game for both teams. Both teams were firing on all cylinders offensively. Both teams were making great defensive plays. Both goalies were making amazing stops. This was an awesome game to watch. And obviously the Red Wings came out on top because their defense was able to keep the high danger scoring chances to a minimum more than the Canucks were.
Yeah, I mean, when, not taking anything away from Ned because he was sensational, but certainly a lot easier to make 43 saves when all of them are face up, from a distance face up, than it is when they're right in front of the net or bouncing back and forth from crease to crease or whatever. So very, very nicely done by the defense. Phenomenal game from Nedeljkovic. All around big win. And the offense, even though they only got one goal out of it, was very solid too. Just ran into a really hot goalie and still got enough to get the job done.
Yeah, Thatcher Demko in this game, I mean, he faced 10 high danger shots against.
How about that chant?
That's a lot. Oh God. Yeah, he made some unreal saves. He's an amazing goaltender.
Did you see the chant thing?
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah,
about
it.
And Ken Daniels like, oh, they're chanting his name. It's like, no, Ken, we
no, they're not chanting his name, Ken. I love you, brother, but they are chanting his name.
They are cheering him on, but they're not saying his name.
He had a great night though in net. He really.
He faced 10 high danger shots against, and he made 9 of them. Made 9 saves, and the one goal he let in, like, how can you prevent that when it's meant to be a pass across?
Beautiful from Suter, yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
So on both sides, it was just a wonderful, wonderful play. And Moritz Seider also, dude had
play of the year.
Play of the year, like when
play of the year.
I shot my shot on Twitter. I said, when he wins the Calder, not if. When he wins the Calder, this is going to be the clip that they're going to go back to.
If it's not when, you're tripping. If it's not when. He's winning the Calder.
Because in the span of 10 seconds, he busted ass, took the puck off a player.
He leads all rookie defensemen in ass, by the way.
He does. He still leads all rookie defensemen in ass. That's a stat from early in the season, but he just dominates it. There's no way he's losing that. I said it's his trophy to lose at this point. He bodied a player up after back checking, and then he deflected a pass, and then he blocked a shot in the span of 10 seconds to end the second period. The man had probably... We talk about how good he's been all the way around, but this is defensively probably the best I've seen him play.
Yeah, he was sensational. He was so good. And I mean, well, we'll get into that in a third, but it's interesting. The defensive pairings tonight were very interesting. And I'm not sure if that was that had anything to do with what Mo's individual performance or not, but regardless, the defense as a whole did a lot better of where they were pushing shots to, and Seider had a phenomenal game, obviously highlighted by that play. He is I really don't really have words anymore for how good he is.
How could you? We've said all the words.
Right. He's phenomenal, man. He's ridiculous. Absolutely unbelievable.
I do think it's fair too. Olli Juolevi had a rough first period, and I would admit that he had a couple of rough turnovers, but man, did he turn it around. And this is 2 straight games where you look at advanced metrics and you look at the eye test. He actually looked really strong out there.
Good.
I mean, he had an expected goals for percentage in this game of I mean, he had expected goals for percentage in this game of 71.95.
Sheesh.
Yeah. I mean, there were 4 players on the Red Wings squad that had above 70 expected goals for percentage. His relative was 29. So relative to his teammates on the ice versus off the ice, he was a net 21 expected goals for percentage. Like, that's amazing.
Not bad.
If you look at Hockey Stat Card, he had the second best impact on this game. All 3. He didn't have he and Nemesnikov are the only 2 players. And I'll throw the Hockey Stat Card up there in the third segment when we get to it. But he and Nemesnikov, spoiler alert, only 2 players on the team that had 100% positive impact. No negative impact to speak of whatsoever. 100% positive impact in this game. He has actually been, in the couple games he's played, he's actually looked good. And it's nice to see because we have not used to good defense.
Yeah, and I mean he's playing for a future in not only with the Red Wings but in the league, man. I mean, getting waived like that, he's playing for a job. So it's super fun, and if he keeps it up, can never have too many decent defenders, especially with the way the defense on this team looks currently. So if he keeps it up, who knows what this offseason is going to bring.
Well, and for him, it's less so much about. I mean, he's fighting for a job in the league, but it's not the lack of skill. He's got the skill.
Oh,
I mean, he was taken fifth overall for a reason. The problem is just staying healthy. And so if he can stay healthy with the Red Wings, he could be another poster child for the reclamation project. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. He's played 2 games with the Red Wings, so he's just looked good in those 2 games. So I'm a little bit excited to see what he can do each night. You know,
absolutely.
What
else I'm excited for each night?
BetOnline.net.
Absolutely.
It's that time of year again as college basketball's tournament is finally upon us, bro. Holy cow. Kentucky eliminated. Michigan, 15-point deficit comeback.
Yeah, if you didn't have Michigan, you're a hater. Everybody knew that was happening.
2 5 seeds got eliminated today as well.
Yeah, 5-12. Most common upset there is, besides like the obvious ones like 8 and 9 or whatever.
Yeah. So, guys, this is clearly the year to bet the underdog. From all the latest odds, contests, and players' props, BetOnline.net is the #1 source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the new website or use your mobile device to learn about the new trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. I'm not going to start until you do it. I know you're waiting.
Just start the segment, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Segment 3 here.
BetOnline!
You're the worst. Post screenshot of me looking annoyed. Let's continue this conversation. We'll wrap up our thoughts on the recap, then we'll get to the Nick Leddy, our thoughts on Nick Leddy being scratched. I'm just going to share the hockey stat card now. Awesome little thing that you guys can look at to see how individual Red Wings impacted the game. Yeah, Vladimir Nemestikov and Olli Juolevi. This is what I was talking about in the second segment, Scotty. These 2 guys were amazing in this game. And obviously Nemestikov having the 1 assist in the game helped tremendously. But, he's just continued. This guy should get you. I mean, I know he's a rental. But with how good he's been and how versatile he is, I'm thinking 2nd-round pick at this point, man. Especially when the money was set, the bar was set with the Ben Sherratt trade. Nemestikov can at least get you a 2nd-round pick with how well he's playing and how the ability he can to just slot anywhere in the lineup.
Yeah, no, it's obviously incredibly valuable, and especially with what some other players have been going for out there on the market. You know? I mean, little Ben for a first, really?
But a projected WAR percentage of 0%, really? That guy?
0%. But yeah, no, I mean, he's been a bright spot for this team all year, and like you said, his versatility is really what makes him so appealing. I think at the deadline is that no matter what hole you have at forward, and no matter what line it is at, he can fill it and be productive at it, whatever that role is. And I that's obviously immensely valuable. And I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's a what can't he do game. That's sensational.
Positive defense, positive offense, positive individual. Like everywhere on the ice, he was excelling in tonight's game. And same with Olli Juolevi. And just look at the offensive impact he had in this game. What is going on here? Like his breakout passes were great in this game, and that's after he had some really bad turnovers, which is probably why his defense is actually just barely on the positive side. I mean, he looked good in this game. Phil Peronik had a strong game. This just reflects all the things that we were seeing. Lucas Raymond have a great, strong defensive game. Same with Moritz Seider. Philip Zadina actually having a negative defensive game while being positive elsewhere. He had a really great blocked shot right at the end, and I'm surprised to see him so far in the negative despite that.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, man. I'm for the most part, I'm just really amped up right now. I'm just very, very pumped with the results of this game. Giovanni Smith leading the team in
what's
shots.
going on here, buddy?
Leading the team in shots. Leading the team in shots, by the way. Giovanni Smith.
He had what? 5 shots on this game? 6 shots? 6 shots in this game, but had a negative .01 offensive impact.
Okay, so he's a net 0 on offense. That barely counts.
And then negative .69 defensive.
Yeah, worst defensive performance on the team.
But he had a positive individual impact. So that's something.
He's like that.
He's like that. He goes out there and he does his job the way he wants to.
It
was overall, I mean, these advanced stats show you everything it reflects everything we saw. The Red Wings, it was an incredibly even game all the way through. That's really what it comes down to. It was a really fun, exciting game. The Red Wings dominated the puck possession in the first period, got dominated the second period, barely had the edge in the third period. The Vancouver Canucks, had the edge at the end of the third period. That was because they pulled their goalie and the Red Wings were just struggling to get that puck out of the zone. But it was a back and forth game the entire time. I mean, it's reflected in the expected goals for percentage. It's reflected in the Fenwick. It's reflected in the Corsi. It's reflected by the eye test. It was just a fun, exciting, close battle that Nedeljkovic won us. It was great.
It was fantastic. And I think the only other thing really to bring up is no Nick Leddy.
No Nick Leddy. Yeah. They said they're not playing him today, and I think they said they're not playing him Saturday either, which, with the trade deadline on Monday, would lead me to believe that if they're willing to scratch him but not Nemesnikov, that there's got to be something in the works already.
Yeah,
it's already got to be taking phone calls.
Unless something comes out that he's like hurt, which there was nothing. By all reports right now, he's healthied, right?
Yeah.
Then that you don't just take out you don't just take out Nick Leddy, who's been a staple on your defense all season, that you just brought in, last offseason. Like that's not someone you just go, oh, hey, by the way, he's not playing the next 2 games like days in advance.
Yeah.
A deal is absolutely in the works. I do not expect Nick Leddy to be on this team come Sunday.
Well, and they said, I'm pretty sure they did say that was like for precautionary reasons, which if they're willing to do that with him but not Nemesnikov, that's why it leads me to believe that either A, they're not willing to trade Nemesnikov, which I know is not true, because Frank Saravelli said yesterday that the only 2 untouchables on this team are Lucas Raymond and
I also think
Moritz Seider.
They couldn't have pulled without Burt and with the injuries tonight.
That is true. That's a good point.
Vlad. That's not really a possibility.
You could have scratched Vlad and played Wachowski and Hiroshi, but do you really want to do that?
You couldn't have scratched him.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
But I just, with Nick Leddy scratching, I have to believe that there's something in the works, but I haven't heard anything. So that's just me speculating. But
this front office runs a tight ship, man.
They do.
You don't hear anything before it happens.
Meanwhile, it's Claude Giroux's 1,000th game with as an NHL player, as the captain of the Philadelphia Flyers, and in the middle of the game, there's like rumors circulating that he's going to the Panthers, and now he's not flying with the team to Ottawa because he's going to get traded to the Panthers.
Yeah.
We are not. Won't tell you anything.
We are not the same.
This was just refreshing, man. I think I've mentioned all the little points that I wanted to in this, but it was just refreshing. 6-game losing streak. You would win 2-8 in the last 10. Your first regulation win in I don't know how long. First time you didn't allow a goal through the first 2 periods in like 22. Your first shutout since January. I mean, this was a much needed break. This game reminded me so much of the Red Wings before this bad stretch happened. This is what I was used to throughout the season, and I'm hoping that this is a return to form rather than, a single bright spot in what's going to be a rough rest of the season.
Right, for sure, and right, that's what I was talking about earlier too. Like if I think it is much more beneficial for the team to continue to compete and try to win as much as possible. I don't think there's any value in this season. You're not going to change your lottery odds enough to justify just tanking and try almost intentionally losing and throwing out not great rosters or lines or whatever. I think it is much more beneficial to continue building a winning culture and continue competing day in and day out. I think that and winning and putting the young players in positions late in close games where they have to learn and stuff. I just think it's much more beneficial for this team to continue to
Play it
try
out.
and win day in and day out than it is to tank at this point.
Play it out and try to build the confidence and improve the players for next season. That's that. I 100% agree. Any final thoughts?
We ball.
We absolutely ball. We'll be back with a new episode on Monday because this is the Friday episode. And Scotty, you know what we forgot to do?
A preview.
We preview Seattle. Yeah, they play Seattle on Saturday. We forgot. We were so hype over this win.
I mean, that's all right.
Second game of the year against the Seattle Kraken. They played them at
X Factor really quick
earlier. X Factor. Phil Peronic. I just threw a name out there, man.
No matter what you were gonna say, I was just gonna laugh at it.
Oh well, that's nice.
I'm going with Zadina. Big game against Seattle.
There we go. All right, we just previewed Seattle Kraken. Thanks for listening. We're always here for expert analysis and insight. We'll be back on Monday. Same time, same place. It's your team. Every day.